Welcome to What's Your Toxic, where you sit with two certified life coaches that help you identify and navigate toxic behaviors.
This podcast is a place to promote self-awareness, personal growth, some spiritual shit, and healing.
We take a modern, humorous approach to working through the negative and hard conversations that most people avoid.
If you know that life can get real fucking messy, come sit with us and we'll be toxic together.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning into our first episode
that's my toxic trait because I don't know how to introduce people.
You're going to be sitting here with Jasper Grey and Taylor Rae.
Sounds the same, but not the same.
Not the same. We could be the same.
We could be the same.
And we are starting this podcast really as a
outlet.
Yes, an outlet, a fun place for both of us. Somebody, well, as people, I guess, as somebody that, like, I don't know. We're fucking up.
We're here to fuck shit up, and that's the whole point. Because life is messy. We're not perfect, and we just show up authentically as ourselves. As life coaches, too. On top of that,
yeah, we're two life coaches that found each other through a coaching program and through mutual friends. And what we have found is we have these really deep and difficult conversations pretty much every day. I feel like
we laugh through it.
But we laugh through it, and we navigate it the best that we can.
And then we're really toxic together, but that's okay.
When we get together,
shit up. And it's a good time. It's a good fucking time.
It is a good time. So we're here to sit with everyone and to talk about some of those hard conversations and how we navigate it. And sometimes that's memes and funny sounds and references that are just around in the modern world and how you can use them.
And if you can't navigate through it, then you can't sit with us.
You can't sit with us.
You can't, and you have to wear pink on Wednesday.
What is today? Oh, today's a Monday. We're good.
We're fine. We're gonna wear black all the time anyways, because that's just how it goes.
What kind of an intro is that?
I don't know. I mean, we're just jumping right in. This is like our personality. This is how we are. This is how we talk.
True.
We're like your new toxic besties.
Hey. Toxic besties, basically. It's a lot of accountability. It's a lot of rawness. It's a lot of authenticity. It's a lot of curse words. And it's just trying to figure out this mess that is Earth. Earth is ghetto.
Earth is ghetto for you.
My favorite saying.
I call it ratchet.
Okay, it can be ratchet. But today, since we're kicking it off, a good place to start is going to be talking about toxic positivity and what that looks like. Because I think we all know somebody that's like, just think positive, just trust it's going to work out, just do your best. And you're like, that's not always enough. You can't just always sit in this place of everything's going to be great. I'm going to show some gratitude and life is going to be good.
Because we don't do love and light shit here.
Fuck your love and light.
Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. No, but I mean, realistically speaking, that's just not real life.
No.
Life, rainbows and butterflies and everything in the world. Life is hard. Life can be hard.
It is. And there's various degrees of hard, right? So like my hard might not look like your hard and vice versa, but that doesn't make it any less intense for the people that are going through it.
True. And that applies with being toxic and knowing your own toxic traits. Like you might not think you're being toxic, but to someone else, they're like, you're toxic as fuck. And we can't be friends anymore because of that.
Yeah. Knowing your boundaries.
Yeah. And then you over here like, I didn't do anything.
Yep. And that gets really hard too when you bring other people into it. I don't know. For me, the toxic positivity has just, I don't know, it's never resonated well. Because like at some point, I'm the type of person that needs to sit with it, talk about it, vent about it, maybe do something about it depending on the situation. And then I can start looking at where to go from there. But like, you have to have that acknowledgement space. You have to have a place to really sit with it, or at least I do.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm very self-aware, but that can be toxic too if you're overly self-aware. Like for myself, speaking for myself, because I overthink everything I do and say sometimes.
Do you think? You think you do that?
Oh, so I was overthinking that right now. Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. That's my toxic trait, because I overthink my overthinking. Boom. There's that.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. And I own that. I fucking know that.
I mean, I don't think I overthink most things. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe that's a short sight of mine, is that I don't think things through. And I'm like, let's go try it. Let's go figure it out as we go. And it's like, maybe
this is why we're friends.
Plan that. Honestly, there's a lot of times where I'll like voice note you and I'm like, I think maybe I should think about this, or maybe I should do this. And you're like, do you just want to like sit down for a minute?
Yeah. Are we just jumping right in or what?
Apparently. Have you seen my life recently? Apparently.
Yes, I have actually. I've been there.
Yeah.
But that's because like I do the overthinking for you probably. And I'm like, here's the end goal. Here's the end goal. Here's the overall end goal. Because I already thought about every perspective there is possibly to think about. And then some.
Sounds terrible.
I know, right? But then like, it's funny because you think that sounds terrible from your end. And I think what you're not overthinking about, that sounds terrible. Because you're not, what is that one song? Into the thick of it?
Into the thick of it?
You know, you're not into the thick of it. So I think that's where we balance each other out, which is great.
We do. We balance each other out in a lot of good ways.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the accountability piece. I like that I can come to you and be like, this is what I did, or this is what I'm doing. And then you take a step back and you're like, okay, that's where you're at. This happened.
Mm-hmm.
What are you trying to get out of that? Where are you trying to go? Like, to what end are you going to do this thing? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
And then I think for me, the biggest thing is like, I always try to bring it back to self.
You do that a lot.
Because everything does come from ourselves, and you have to be real honest about your feelings, your actions. We all know what the fuck we're doing. You can't tell me that we don't know. Intentionally or unintentionally, we all fucking know we want something out of a situation, or whatever the case may be, or getting something out of a situation, whatever case may be.
That's fair.
Right?
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know though. I think that, but I don't know though.
Because I don't know. Here's my toxic trait too. I could say all this shit, right? And it makes sense to me. But I'll follow up with, I don't know, because there's billions of motherfuckers out here that'll have something to say. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's what perspective is all about. We're all entitled to our opinion.
Your opinion is wrong, but yeah, you're entitled to have it. It's fine.
Right?
No, I think the premise like of this show is to show more of that. Like that there are different shortcomings in certain areas, or that like you might have a trait that works for you but doesn't work for somebody else. You might think differently than somebody else. You can have varying opinions from other people, and that is all okay.
Yeah.
And also, can we all just be really honest that toxic is incredibly overused now? And so we figured we would just kind of like ride that train. That was like a wave. But
yeah,
like
what kind of train does that? I think we're on a roller coaster now. Like what?
Well, life's a roller coaster. It's a hot mess out here.
It's hard in these streets.
And
that's true what you're saying, because I think any word, honestly, within the mental health, what do you call it? Bubble? I don't know. Mm-hmm. All the words are overused. That it like means nothing anymore, and everybody just throws it like a regular word.
Yeah.
You know? And I think people use that as a scapegoat. You could do something that's like really like, if it's like more common, right? Just because you don't get along with it, it doesn't mean you go and label that person or that thing or whatever is being said as toxic. That's fine. You're just using it as an excuse to get out of whatever the fuck you want to get out or avoid. You're avoiding something by saying that.
Yeah.
And then we also have to think about that most times if we're avoiding shit or saying certain things, it's a reflection of ourselves because we're projecting as well. If you're not aware, right?
I mean, yeah, I agree. Somebody's going to comment on our very first episode and be like, I don't agree with this at all.
And that's fine.
I think we should preface this with, like, Jasper and I are not mental health officials, obviously.
We go through a lot of mental health issues ourselves, like everyone else.
Right. And I think a lot of the times as coaches, like, I don't know if you felt this. Well, I think you have to an extent, but I don't want to speak for you. But I think a lot of the times as coaches, I feel like I can't share those things, or like I can't share struggles and things like that if I don't have a good outcome or like a solid plan to navigate through it. Because people just kind of expect that you're going to have it all together, or that you're going to have all the answers, and that's not what it's about. And so, like, for me, doing this is like a good way to show the different pieces of myself, right? Like,
So I feel like that's a whole other topic on its own that coaches are not ready to have, because a lot of the coaches come too polished, and that's not real life. If you're really wanting to relate to everybody on a daily basis, this is life. It's messy. We all go through shit. I don't care what you go through, but we're all connected in some way. We all go through the same emotions at different depths, different levels. But this is the human experience, and this is how we connect, is by being vulnerable and owning up to our shit being toxic or not. Even if you're overly positive or whatever the case may be, like, we're not perfect. And I think that's the thing. Like, if you can't even say that you're not perfect, we got a problem here, because life is not polished. Social media is. That's marketing. Fine, do you, boo, I don't give a fuck. But
my social media is not polished. It's not anymore. I tried it. No.
And yeah, and if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. That's fine. And I think that's the thing. It's like you and I went through the same coaching school, and it's just like almost cookie cutter. And everybody, and like for me, I'm a perspective person. So like I like to step back and like watch them, like everybody goes through the same waves. I'm like, no. This is not how this works. This is not real life.
No. I don't like the cookie cutterness of it all. I think it had a lot of really good things in it, but like, to see where a lot of people came out of the program and the kind of stuff that they do now, not that there's anything wrong with that, you guys, like somebody from there is going to be like, what the hell, Taylor, what are you talking about? Not that there's anything wrong with that. If it works for you, I just know it didn't work for me. And like, I want to be able to say, fuck this on my page. And I want to be able to have those things of like, hey, this is what I'm struggling with, and I don't have a solution for it yet. And that's okay, because I think a lot of people come to coaching and they're like, tell me what I need to do to fix this. And that's not what it's about. Mm-hmm. That's not the point of it at all. And yeah. Right? Because, you have your client call and you have your setup and you have all this stuff, and they come with you with like these tangible goals, which is great. I think having a goal is great, but like, I can't tell you how to get there. We don't sit there and like create that plan or anything for you. And so sometimes when I'm sitting in my own stuff, like, I don't have a plan for it. I have no idea what I'm doing.
It's not real life, and that's the thing. But that's up to the coaches, right? Whatever client you want. But that's not your ideal client, right? Just kind of like me. My ideal client is, you better take the steps to get to me, and you better figure it out yourself. If you're coming to me expecting answers on a silver platter, and you're not going to do the work, and I have to do all the work for you, this ain't going to work.
No, it won't.
And at the end of the day, that does more harm to them than it does us, because we've done the work. We're still doing the work.
So you have a little shoulder thing? We're doing the work. Ooh.
I'm making this sexual. I'm just kidding. Sex sells. I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, you want to find your ideal client. That's where, like, I think a lot of people get lost in that shit.
Lost in the sauce?
Yeah. But
I
I think ideally, I mean, what you were just saying right there, that's like, I mean, that's what I heard. It's like you want people, you want a client that will do the work, not just come to you like asking questions all the fucking time. And you're like shooting out answers. And it's like, okay, I just made this easier for you. But at the end of the day, are you still going to do something with that?
well, and I want the people. It's already coming out, but I want the people. Yeah, I saw your face. You're like, yeah, it is. I want the people that are like messy. You know, they have a story and they
Yeah.
know where they've been and how far they've come. And they're like, but I know I'm not done yet. I didn't come this far to only come this far. And they're ready to get into that. Where are you holding yourself back? That's a huge one. And I feel like when you talk about like toxic positivity and stuff like that, you can't get to those deeper depths and really like cut that out if you're not willing to even look at it. So like when you push stuff to the side, you're like, everything is great. We're going to fix everything. This is great. Just go through it. Keep a good attitude. Do this and this. It's all going to work out for you. That's not how it works. I don't like it. I like the messy.
The messier, the better.
That sounds so bad.
That's toxic as fuck, but it's okay. No.
I'm just over here trying to be Bob the Builder, I guess. Fix everything.
I'm not fixing people, though. They got to fix themselves. We're here to support you on your journey to fix yourself, but you got to do the work yourself. And like, you're big on that part. I'm big on accountability and self-awareness.
You're big on accountability. I know.
Yeah, because that's a part of it. If you can't even be accountable for yourself, okay, find an accountability partner. And through that, you'll learn a lot. Trust me, I've had failed through that too. Yeah. Because that also shows people at different levels of accountability, right? Like, I've jumped into things with people. I know I show up. That's my work ethic. I'm always going to show up, but
yeah, you do.
I'm not going to pull the fucking weight. Right. And I'm like, how are you my accountability partner if you can't even pull the weight? And I'm pulling all the fucking weight. So now I'm doing all the work, right? That's the same thing as coaching.
Yep.
I'm not here to fix you and pave the way for you.
Yep.
You got to do that for yourself in your own life. Like, what do we always say? You create your own life. And you got to bring it to self. You really have to.
I'm thinking of a mutual friend that we have where I'm going to send her this very first episode and be like, where's your buzzer? I'm going to be like, listen, you need to listen to this one where you can't pull everybody's weight, where you can't save everybody, where you can't do everything for them. I don't know. I think that's...
You're going to drown. Say if this is a boat, this is a fucking Titanic. If you let everybody on and you're trying to save all of them, there you fucking sink.
There's not enough boats.
There's not enough lifeboats.
There's not.
Just like the, what is it? The little thing that whatever her name is was laying on, and then like Jack was like in the water, like
the door. The little thing she was on a door.
Well, whatever the fuck it was. Right? You couldn't, she did it right though. I'll give her that. Because if
Excuse me, she let him drown.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that little door, we all have a little door, okay? But if you're gonna load it up with more people, you're gonna sink too, you're gonna die. You gotta save yourself first, sometimes. Not always.
And I'm on the opposite side, and I'm like, Rose could have let Jack sit on that door. She would have been fine. She would have been cold and she would have been wet, but she would have been fine.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that too before.
I think that she could have fit them both.
I think they could have fit both, but depending on that door, they might sink. Like, I don't know.
All right. Sometimes you have to be Rose and you have to keep the door to yourself. Fine.
In certain situations, though, not all situations.
Okay, so how do you distinguish it between I can fit somebody else on my door and I cannot fit somebody else on my door?
Okay, so that's how I view friends too, right? Like, that sounds really fucked up. That's the same way as friends. It's that equal reciprocation. Like, it's a give and take. If we're all gonna save each other, hell yeah, get on my fucking door, boat, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, we're gonna figure it out together. Those are the people that I fuck with. If I'm gonna have you sit on my boat and you're gonna do shit, then you might as well just like jump off. I'll push you off because I'm not doing that.
I'll push you.
But that's how it is. You gotta cut off the like toxic, like negative, like
Yeah.
vibes, people in your life because they drown you. They pull you back. They're your roadblocks.
Yeah.
You can't, like, I know you and I and the collective, we all want each other to win. So
I
this
mean,
is why
yeah,
we're
that's
all
true.
on the same boat, right?
Yeah, without a doubt.
We all bring something to the table and we're all like, boom, let's fucking go, right?
Yeah.
But if you have that one person that just milking whatever, you know, or whatever we do, and they don't really bring anything to the table, they're your dead weight.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
And that's
Well,
common in life with friends, with business, with whatever you want to call it, you know?
yeah. Well, we recently just had an event where you had to cut some weight. And I think sometimes it's really obvious, you know? Like sometimes people will be like, oh, I see this person not appreciating you or not paying you for your work or not listening to what you have to say or some of those like really obvious things. But it can also be that I don't want to say stagnation because not everybody's always going to be on the up and up, but people that are actively working to improve their space, their business, if you're a business owner, their products. I mean, just whatever your case may be, like you want to seek out those people that are constantly working to be better, not the people that are like, this is cool. I'm good with this. You guys do everything and I'll just hang out right here. None of
Yeah.
those ones.
Yeah. Those are the ones you push into the water.
Just throw them off the boat. It's fine.
Because and that's the unfortunate part. Like, I think we all go through life that way. If you haven't cut any friends off by the time you're in your 30s, like, we got a problem here.
By the time you're in your 20s, I know you guys are all older than me, but really, like by your 20s, if you're not making,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're not making big changes, or what do we have a friend, Kat calls it auditing, right? Like you audit your business every quarter, what was working, what wasn't working, what did you spend, where were you like expending too much energy, those kind of things. But like, I think you audit your friend group and your circle too.
And then if they're gonna fall off, let them. They're just not meant to be in your life. It hurts. I get it. Losing your first friend, losing your best friend, growing apart, partners, lovers, whatever. Like, it's hard. I get it. It's heartbreaks suck. Trust me, I know that. And it's just like the way as you get older, the way that I see things now are different, right?
Mhm.
Now I see everybody as like, you do bring me something, whether it's good, negative, whatever, positive, life changing, could be detrimental, could be anything. It's all a lesson to build yourself. And if you're not aware of like what people bring to you, that's going to be a little bit hard to understand. But everybody plays a role, whether it's good or bad. Just like me, I play a role. I could be a toxic motherfucker to somebody's life, but I don't want to say they needed it, right? Because that sounds real toxic. But in this life, we get brought different people that bring out different versions of us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then we have to be very aware of like why and why did that happen? Why did this trigger happen or anything else like that? Because if you're not aware of that, you're gonna walk through life and be so blind and just wonder like, why are people treating me like this? Or you're gonna play the victim card. I'm sorry, I don't play that shit no more. You gotta own up to your shit as you get older.
That accountability piece. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just
Well,
gotta be real honest about yourself.
I was going to say in that honesty piece, the accountability and the honesty, I think, I know for me, the honesty was the hardest part when I first started. That was really hard because I had to really take a look at where am I holding myself back? Where am I repeating patterns? Like, especially in my 20s and like anybody that's seen my personal page and stuff, like baby daddy was a nightmare. And I was like, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep having this repeat? Well, it probably would have helped to not keep going back, first of all. And who is that on? It's on me. I mean, it just those things. Like,
And that's hard to admit on its own when you're like, oh yeah, it's my fault. I put myself through that. I chose to go through that. Right. And I think that does take a while for you to pick up because like I think I'm more like a late bloomer. Maybe, I don't know. We all live on our. Here's the thing, people. We all live on our own timelines. We all go through shit at different times. So whatever I'm saying, either you're early in your 20s or you're later in your 40s and 50s, and you're
Yeah.
barely just starting this journey. That's fine. You're fine. You're where you're supposed to be, and that's a hard part to sit with too, because society has us thinking that we should be at a certain place or level where we're fucking, the checklist. I don't follow that. We don't, right? And
But we tried.
because we were programmed that way, but that's a whole
I
different.
think that's important to know. Like, we tried it.
Yeah, and it didn't work. It doesn't work. Maybe for some people, right? And like, so me, I started my journey probably 4 years ago,
Mhm.
but this shit like really like was like in my face because I was always the go 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 type. I never really sat with myself. I have a lot of thinking. I have a lot of thoughts.
You're
All
still the go, go, go type. What are you talking about? You're still
that,
always.
not in the way that I used to be. Now I actually do take rest days. Now I actually do like try to listen to my
Okay.
body. Like I need a rest today. I need to like figure some shit out. Take time to sit in my feelings, emotions. Because I was so go 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 because I was avoiding,
Yeah.
right? And so for me to really like sit down, like what? Because for the longest I did play the victim card, but not like oh boo hoo, look at me, woe is me. But it's more like to myself because I'm more of a internal, like an internal struggler. Like I don't voice shit out loud. I do
Yeah.
suffer more internally in silence. And for me, it's more like, why does this keep happening? Like, I feel like I'm a good, decent human being. I have a good heart. Like, why do people keep taking advantage of me and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, then it hit me in the face like, well, I like boundaries. Nobody talking to me about boundaries, right?
I like boundaries.
I don't have boundaries. And I didn't know how to protect myself. I was always people pleasing, giving, giving, and people just taking, taking, taking. And then, of course,
Yeah.
you're just like, why me? I'm doing all these great things for people. But really, you're like fucking yourself up at that point. And it took me a while to really look at that and be like, being too giving, being a people pleaser, that's toxic to yourself. That's me trying to save everybody on the fucking Titanic. Okay. I'm only
Put
one
your
person.
cape on and off you go.
Yeah. And I'm only one person. And I was always drowning at the end of the day. I'm like, why isn't anybody here for me? But I'm there for everybody else.
Well, I think a lot of people also just get so wrapped up in their own shit that like sometimes it can be unintentional. Not that it always is. I think there's definitely people that are like, "Oh, I know I can call so and so and this will get done." Or this person always comes through or whatever. But I think
That's me. I come through.
you do.
Yeah.
But you also will stay up super late until like 1 a.m. just doing.
Yeah. I will stay up with you if you really
You
need it.
will. You will. Um, but I think so many people get so wrapped up in their own head and in their own issues and in their own things that they're doing that they're like, oh, it's fine. I'll just call so and so and I know it'll get done. And then they're on to the next thing. And like taking that time to sit and be like, where am I giving back to people in my life? Am I supporting enough people? Am I doing this right? Or if you only with that friend that only calls you when they need something and you're like, ugh. Like, have you ever seen your phone ring and you're like, well, I can already tell you I don't want to do that. Like when you get those feelings around certain people, or you're like, oh, so and so's calling me. I don't have time for that. Or like, man, I love my family. I love my family. But I know that there are definitely times like where somebody will call and I'm like, you just want to call and talk about another family member, or you just want to call and tell me that something is wrong. And I'm like, I don't have the space for that. Like, I don't have any. Have you heard the spoon theory? I'm probably going to butcher this, but have you heard the thing about spoons?
No.
Okay, so it's like where you wake up in the morning, and again, this isn't like exactly what it is, but it's basically this idea. You wake up in the morning and you have 5 spoons. And as you go out throughout your day, you have to figure out how many spoons you're going to give away. So like I go to my boring muggle job and I give away a spoon. And now I'm down to 4 spoons. And then I know I have to pick up my kiddo from school and she needs to be taken care of. And maybe that takes away 2 spoons. And then, I have to find all the various things throughout the day. And I'm like, all right, cool. By the end of the day, if I have 1 spoon left, like that spoon is for me. And sometimes at the end of the day, I'll feel really good. And I'll be like, I have 3 spoons left today. I feel fine. This was a really good day. This was an easy day. Some days I'm sitting there and I'm like, I have no spoons left to give and I still have a fuck ton of shit to do. Mm-hmm. Or like my kid is really upset or whatever. And I'm like, this is the last thing that I can do today.
Yeah.
Maybe the last thing that I can do well is make sure that Bear gets dinner and into bed, and that's it. And then I don't get to work and I don't get to cleaning the kitchen or I don't get to all those other things, but like recognizing how many spoons you have. And if you have somebody that takes all your spoons all the time, that's a really clear indicator. Except my toddler, I can't get rid of her. She takes a lot of fucking spoons. I can't get rid of her.
No, we don't want to do that.
Let's just be really honest, though. Sometimes it's hard like that. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes she takes 3 spoons a day, and I'm like, girl.
And that's the joy of it. But I mean, that's where I think learning balance is also really hard. I think I use the cup method, right? Everybody uses
the fill your cup. Can't pour.
There's a lot of thirsty motherfuckers out there. Okay, there is. And for the longest, what's that saying? Like you can't pour from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, fuck that. Scratch that shit. I only get from my overflow.
Yes. Okay. And also knowing how do you fill your cup back up?
And that's the part that we all have to learn is like, I know that if you're a parent, I get it. You don't have that time for yourself or self-care, self-love. And especially if you have a partner and like a whole ass family to like cater to, like, I get that. But it's also very important to try to at least schedule at least 5, 10, 15. I mean, I would want to say minimum at least an hour to yourself. But I know that can be a very long time. And not everything, but honestly, for longevity to show up as your best self, you do need that hour. Yeah. Even if it's like you have to lose an hour of sleep just to wake up early to like sit in silence and do something that makes you happy. Put in that effort for yourself to take care of yourself so you can show up for your kids and your family and everybody else, and just like learning. So there's like 2 sides of this, right? Because there's that part where you're always so busy. Then there's also people that just like are always doing something. Like you need to chill.
Doing the most.
You're doing the most. You need to chill. And that could be like a trauma response too. But, that's where you have to recognize like, it's okay to take an hour. You don't have to be cooking, cleaning, fucking folding laundry every fucking of the day, like, you know what I mean?
I think we were taught that though. You know what I mean? In a hustle culture and with everything that you're doing and like social media and people and influencers and those people that are like, you can wake up an hour earlier. You'll be fine. And like in some cases, that's totally true. For me, I'm not waking up any earlier. I'll stay up later.
Yeah, I'll stay up later.
Like, and that's a slight shift, right? But there's so many things out there that are like, you can do this. It's a lack of discipline. It's this and this and this, which sometimes it is. Don't get me wrong. But also, like what fills up somebody else's cup and what works for them is not going to work for you. Even among us, right? Like even in our friend group, Maggie lives on the beach and she goes out and she plays in the ocean all day. And that's great for her.
Yeah.
I don't live by a beach. I can't do that. We live in the desert.
We live in the desert. It's hot as fuck.
Where we're dying all the time. Yeah. Or like the people that are like, I am absolutely 100% non-negotiable, not skipping the gym. I see you out there in your hoochie daddy shorts going to the gym.
Yeah. Hoochie daddy short season.
Hoochie daddy short season. Show those 3 inches of thigh meat.
Get the back of my kneecaps licked.
But, and like, I love that. I want to be in the gym more. I really do. Not always possible when you have a kiddo running around. It's not always possible if you're working 2 jobs. It's not always possible if you're, doing a million other things because everybody's layout looks different. And I feel like culturally we've told everybody, you should be doing this every single day. You should be meditating every single day. You should journal every single day. I mean, yeah, I don't meditate that much either.
I just don't meditate really. So.
But I'll journal.
Yeah.
Even if it's 5 minutes, I could journal for 5 minutes, or if I'm uninterrupted, I will probably journal for like an hour. That would be my whole hour, and I'm good with that. Or reading a book. I normally read like 8 to 12 books a month. If I'm reading a book, don't come talk to me.
And that's the thing, right? Like you find things that either A, bring you peace where you can regenerate yourself, like journaling an hour, that might generate you, what the fuck? Energize you, right? In that way. Or you can find something that you enjoy doing where it brings excitement and you are able to unload in that way, like a release, like and you know what I mean? I don't know what I'm saying right now, but you get what I'm saying. Toxic. That's all.
We are the best podcasters out there.
Okay, this is how real life conversation works. I think our biggest message to all of this is just really embracing and working through your toxic behaviors and traits to be a better you every day. At least that's for me. That's my goal for myself. But
be a better you every day, which starts with honesty and accountability and looking at where you are hurting yourself and where you're hurting others. Always about where you're hurting others, because we're not trying to do any of that.
what would you put first? Hurting others first or yourself first?
I think it depends.
Yeah.
I think it depends. I think you have to have, well, okay, obvious one, motherhood. My kid comes first.
Yeah.
For needs and stuff, but that's not to say that I should forgo all of my hobbies, my dreams, my aspirations, and everything that I do. Because at the end of the day, she needs a happy, healthy, well-rounded mom, and she needs a role model, and she needs to see what that looks like. I think there can be compromise in romantic relationships. Like you have to be able, if you're in it for the long haul, you have to be able to compromise.
Of course.
And so, I think it's kind of situational where you put others first. And I also think in any relationship, there are going to be those good days and their bad days, right? Where one day you're giving 80%, but when you're having a bad day and you can only give 10% and that other person is picking you up and doing 90, that matters. You just never want to be the person that's always giving 10%,
Yeah, and you don't always want to be the person that gives 100% all the time either.
Right.
You gotta find that balance. That's
auditing your circle and what you're doing.
In friends, relationship, it's I think that reciprocated energy where it's like an equal give and take.
Right.
Some days, like you said, it could be 90-10. Some days, but don't stay like that forever.
No, yeah. And everyone has those big transitional life changes. And when you're going through a heartbreak, you're going to be given 10%. When you're, death, divorce, moving, lost your job, car accident, all of those big things that you cannot plan for, you're going to be given 10%, 10, 20. And then you just kind of build it back up, right? Today was a good day. I was able to give you 30% today. But as long as you're striving, yeah.
Just show up, and being awake is enough, more than enough.
And being awake.
And being alive, being awake, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Some days that's all we can do, right? You just want to just wake up, you open your eyes, you're still in bed for the next week, and that's all you can do because that's all you have.
And you're not always going to be thriving. Sometimes you're just going to be surviving.
And that's the balance. It's okay. And I think a lot of times people don't think that's okay. That's why we're so programmed to I gotta be up, I gotta do this. I don't care if I'm fucking sad.
Or rest is not productive when it is.
Rest for me has been the hardest thing to do.
I mean, same. Same, honestly.
Because nobody nobody taught us that. Nobody told us that rest is. We've heard it, but I didn't realize it was so detrimental that I'm trying to do it, trying to give myself an hour. I'm that's hard. But now I give myself Sundays. Don't do shit on Sundays. Just don't do it.
Plant daddy on Sundays.
That's still doing something, right? I'm still
no, that counts. Plant daddy on Sundays.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's still me doing something because I feel the urge. I need to be productive and do something. And I think that's okay. Doing things that make you happy, things that re-energizes you to fill your cup, stock up on your spoons or whatever works for you.
I think of salad fingers. Did you ever watch Salad Fingers?
No, what are those? What are those?
You're going to look at it and be what the fuck is this, Taylor? But yeah, stocking your spoons, filling your cup, going to the gym, writing a book, going outside, taking a nap, go swim in the pool. I mean, go get some ice cream.
Treat yourself.
Yes.
That's the key.
That's my toxic trait. I never not treat myself. I could
trait is I treat myself too much.
Yeah. Mr. Carne asada fries at 11 o'clock at night.
And I bought him 2 burritos too on top of
that. I'm like, oh no, the money will come back to me. Swipe my card.
That's a whole other topic. That's a whole other topic.
Apparently a trauma response. And I was like, well, is it now?
Shopping sprees?
Yeah. Retail therapy. It's a trauma response.
Really?
Yeah. Makes so much sense. Do you see this closet?
Mine.
All in black though.
Yeah. You probably can't see much because it's all just black.
All in black.
All in black. That's my black. We don't wear color here. Okay.
No. Even when we live in the desert where it's 105.
Or like 115.
Yeah.
Still gonna be in black. Don't give a fuck.
And then there's those things, right, where you can joke and be like, this is not really a toxic trait, but throw it in there. Sprinkle it in there for some humor, like that little Salt Bay guy. Just
nothing but toxic.
Nothing but toxic. Some toxic sprinkles on top.
We're just gonna be salty.
Or that. I can be. I'm petty. We are petty.
Scorpio placements are petty. Very
so
good.
We are.
See, but we own our shit. We own it. We own our toxic.
We own our toxic. Yeah. Looking at those different things, looking at it in depth, looking at where you are. Being honest. And sometimes I think you have to sit with it for a while. It doesn't just happen overnight. You can't just look at it and be like, I know that I do this. I know that I self-sabotage, and then just like move on from it. Like, okay, if you know that you do those things, then where are you going now? How are you going to work to not do them or not do them as often? Or what triggers you to put you in that space of wanting to do it?
And those are conversations that are really hard to have for people that don't know how to go and dive deeper into the thick of it.
Into the thick of it. Get it. Okay. So life coaches, genuine cheat codes, genuinely a cheat code to life. You don't know where you need to start. A code.
Cliff notes.
A journal. Yeah. Or Cliff Notes.
Yeah. I just outed my age probably. Do Cliff Notes even still exist?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I think now they're like Spark Notes. They were Spark Notes when I was in school.
They're Cliff. Oh shit, I'm that old.
We knew that. But and it's very different than like having a friend that you're constantly like unloading on and dumping on. Like
that is not okay. I'm just saying sometimes.
That's why I always ask, and I'm like, hey, can I tell you this thing?
And that's
are you good?
Things just to highlight that's the healthy way of doing things. And if you're the friend that always just like lets people unload, that's your problem. You need to set those boundaries, and it's okay to be like, look, I don't have it in me right now.
Yeah, but I'll call you back later.
Yeah, I do want to support you, but I just can't right now. And that's okay.
And if your friend is going to get mad at that, something to look at.
Push them into the ocean.
Push them off your door.
Yeah, push them into the waters. Into the deep end. That's toxic, I know. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry. We've been through enough to know.
People are going to listen to this and be like, you just cutting people off left and right? You're just running in circles, pushing people off of doors?
Because not everybody deserves a seat at the table.
Not everybody deserves a seat at the table.
This is like the VIP booth, right? It's like only invited guests. Is that how that quote goes? I forgot what it was, but it was on social media because it was a thing.
It's something like that, yeah. Not everybody gets a seat at the table. Not everybody fits on the rasta.
Yeah, that one too.
Auditing your space and getting really real and authentic and honest. And I think that's a good place to start. If you're wondering, like, how do I really figure out what are toxic traits? How do I really figure out where I'm not delivering? How do I figure out where I'm holding myself back? Introspection, honesty, reflecting, accountability. Yes. And finding I think that this part is a little bit more of a process, but finding your people, right? And that doesn't start right away. A lot of the time, finding your people doesn't start until you get really in tune with yourself. And so it's going to feel, I think I should throw it out there that sometimes it feels really lonely. And sometimes you're like, well, I'm walking away from all of these people, or I'm walking away from my family, or I'm walking away from this like long relationship and I don't know who I am without it. That's okay. That's a part of it. It's scary and it's heavy. And then the more that you realize this is what I like and this is what I do, like, then you go out and you find your people. And it happens completely by accident. Because I used to be in that space of like, I don't even know where I'm going to find people that like the shit that I like. I don't even know where I'm going to go. And now I have all of you guys.
And that's the thing too.
Found you by accident.
Very accidental.
Jasper's like, yeah, I didn't realize I was signing up for all of this,
But I think that's the thing too, that what you're saying, it gets lonely, but we do need that alone time to sit within ourselves in our own shit and work through that alone. Because ain't nobody gonna do this shit for you. You can get cliff notes by having some coaches, but even with that, those are just little nuggets to get you started, right? To spark something within yourself. And then if you really want to go on this healing journey or whatever journey you want to call it, growth, whatever, like you really got to do it alone. Because why? For me, I really needed to isolate myself, because for me, it was all the noise, all the voices weighing in too much, and I couldn't hear my own.
Yeah.
And so I had to go through that separation from people in order to hear what I truly wanted, what I needed. Mm-hmm. And from there on, I had to fulfill my own needs. Because if you don't fulfill your own needs, people can't do that shit for you. Nobody can read your mind. No matter how you tell people the answers on a platter, they're not going to be able to do that for you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can tell people go do X, Y, and Z and it'll fix your problem, and half of them still won't do it.
But that's the thing too, though. Like, well, I think we will always go through waves of friends.
Yeah.
And that's like a shitty truth, right? Like, you think some people are going to be here with you forever, and they're not, because you will outgrow people. And if you choose to keep them around, that's you. They could be hindering your growth and you didn't even know it, because you put so much trust, love, and time in it that you didn't even realize that they were actually not helping you at all. And that's
okay. But also, can I just say, like, you guys aren't allowed to leave me. That applies to everybody, but like our circle, okay? Because
are we getting into attachment issues?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, because I have attachment and abandonment issues, and like, you guys can't leave me though. Good advice for everyone else in the world, but don't leave me.
But see, that's the thing, right? Everything we do and situations that we are being brought or put in will help us grow together. So maybe one day you will be the little bird able to fly out of the nest and leave us. I don't fucking know.
That sounds terrible, but maybe. I know, like, you had to move away and you got distance. I moved halfway across the country to get distance. And it was scary, but it was also really liberating. Like, I don't have to ask. I don't have anybody to ask. I don't have anybody to schedule with. Like, the only person that I have right now is me. And if I want to go do something, I can go do it. If I don't want to do anything and I want to lay in bed with Reese's peanut butter cups, I can. Like, who's going to judge me for it? Nobody. I want to go to this sound bath event. I have nobody to ask. So I'm going to go, and then I'm going to meet people there that are into the same thing as me, because we're at the same event, you know, like getting out of your comfort zone, taking time away, getting out of your comfort zone, and then sitting.
And that's if you're like truly dedicated to like your personal growth and like development journey as a person. Every situation teaches us something, and like doing things alone definitely teaches us a lot. I had to leave. I only moved one state over, but still, like, I was so wrapped up in chaos and girls that like I just was like, woo, life, you know? Woo, we love this shit, right? But I was avoiding so many things. Yeah. I didn't even realize that I was like avoiding. I was avoiding myself.
I think the big like shutdown, like the 2020, 2021 shutdown taught a lot of people that. Like, who are you really? When you're not out distracting yourself, when you're not at the club, when you're not out doing things with your friends every weekend, when you're not at the movies or out shopping or whatever it may be, you know? Who are you really when you have to sit there?
I went through that. That was
Did
actually
you?
when I really started to really work and focus on myself. Like I have been, it's like baby steps, you know? And it was like boom in your face, like y'all can't see nobody, you can't do shit, you gotta learn how to adapt. We're gonna take all this shit away. And then like you know what I mean? But I mean I'm fine being like isolated, like I've always been okay by myself. But it was just like it took on like a different like level, like a
Yeah.
different level for me. I mean, everybody processes 2020 differently, you know?
Yeah.
And like for me, it made me dig deeper than what I was ready for.
I dug a lot deeper and I felt like I had a really good growth. Up early every day, making all my own food, really healthy, like 2 days at the gym. Because we did have a gym that stayed open. Not all of them did. And then like I was like, oh, I'll just like get all the at-home equipment and stuff too. And so like you could go to the gym once a day with your health check. And then you had all this extra time. And I was like, I love this. And like I picked up old hobbies that I didn't have any time to do before. I enrolled in coaching school.
I did too.
Decided I was gonna quit my job because
Well, I quit it before that.
I wanted to quit before that, and I was like, there's no possible way that I can do this. And then when I was sitting in it, and I was like, I'm just gonna have to figure it out because it's that draining. And I didn't look back, and it's been great. So like those big leaps of faith.
Into the unknown. It sounds scary, but now I'm like, oh,
No.
I'm ready to go into the unknown because why there's so much growth and I'm a big pusher. I'm obviously pushing people off and shit. I'm a big pusher in the sense of like, if you want to try something, fucking just go do it. I'm gonna fuck, just do it.
You are a great hype man.
Yeah, because I'm like,
I will give you that.
you won't know until you do it, and then if you do it, either you're gonna love it and progress, or you're gonna hate it. And be like, no, that wasn't it.
That wasn't for me, but now I know.
Yeah, and
But
there's
now I
nothing
know.
wrong with it. And I feel like the next thing that I'm working through, like rejection, right? Like everybody hates rejection, and I'm learning how to detach, like detachment, and that goes hand in hand with like rejection, right?
The detachment, my mom always used to say, be strict in your goals, but be flexible with your methods. And I was like, that's fucking stupid. No. And then
That's rude. That's rude as fuck. Like,
it was, but I wasn't in a place of doing that. And then it wasn't until I got really deep in like my own spirituality and they were like talking about the concept of detachment, of how you can, you know, wanting something and pursuing something and being okay with the way that it plays out, because you really hurt yourself when you put your own expectations on different things. And it wasn't until I had it explained to me in that way that I was like, you know what, mom, you were right. You were right the whole time. And that can also be a thing too. Like you could have something in front of you for so long, and then until you go through it, you don't really know what to do with it. But it'll click when the time is right. Like when you're ready for it and you're ready to incorporate it, it's going to come through.
yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a way to speed up the process to all of this. Everything just falls into the place at the right time. You're
Be
gonna
really
start.
cool if there was, though.
What?
Be a lot cooler if there was, though.
Get life coaches.
Get your cheat codes.
Yeah, but what? Okay, so when you said expectations, that's like one thing that I learned really pretty. It hit me hard too. It's the expectation and the potentials.
We are not. We are not going for potential. You wanna no? You're focusing on potential? Focusing on potential?
That's toxic as fuck. Yeah.
We do not focus on potential.
Yeah.
Flag on the play. There will be no focusing on people's potential unless they are willing to go through it. Same with yourself. You can have a ton of potential. You can be like, I could do this. Okay, you could, but you're not. So.
And a lot of this, I feel like it goes back into how you speak to yourself and how you view yourself. And it's that building that relationship with self that is very important too. Like I
It is.
feel like I'm fucking I have a lot of potentials, but
Oh, maybe we should do our next one on building relationship with self. So that's an introduction to all of the things we're going to be talking about, to the way that we operate, to the kind of commentary that we have, really just two best friends, two coaches that are trying to navigate this mess called life. And hopefully you guys will tune into more episodes as we figure this out. Because
just
that's
fuck
really,
it up as we go, whatever.
we're
It's
just
cool.
going to fuck it up as we go. So we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.